Hey there, Latin 1. So I'm going to talk to you now about transitive verbs, okay? So transitive verbs, that was the bubble that was the blue bubble. So I'm trying to keep everything color-coded. So transitive verb is any verb that takes a direct object. I'm going to label a direct object as DO, okay? So any verb that takes a direct object is a transitive verb. Now, you might not know what a direct object is. So a direct object, DO, is the victim of the verb, okay? A direct object, all right, will always end with an M or an S in Latin, and that will help you figure out and identify it. But more importantly, it's the victim of the verb, all right? So my rule is always, if you can do it to a nun or a puppy, it's a transitive verb. So for instance, I cuddle a puppy. Okay, what's getting cuddled? What's getting the verb? The puppy is. Therefore, it is a transitive verb, and that puppy becomes the direct object, right? Or I kick a nun. All right, what did I do to the nun? I kicked her. So what did she receive? She received the verb. She got kicked. Therefore, she's the direct object, and I used a transitive verb. Okay? So, and that's kind of the rule of thumb as far as it's what I call my nun or puppy rule. As far as figuring out if you can do it to something. If you can do it to something, then it is a transitive verb. So here are some examples. Now, when we label transitive verbs, we label them TV, and anytime there's a transitive verb, you should be able to find a direct object, either in that sentence or previous or coming up. You know, the only time where it's not is like Dum Cornelia leget Flavius scribit. We know that Cornelia is probably reading words and Flavius probably writing words. Okay, and so the word words isn't in there, but those are still transitive verbs. But otherwise, it's going to be in the sentence. So here you go. Marcus puellam amat. All right, so Marcus loves the girl. Notice the direct object ends with an M. Okay, so Marcus is the subject. He's the one doing the verb. But the first thing I labeled was the verb. And I know that you can love a puppy and you can love a nun. So I know that that's a transitive verb. Now, who's doing it? It's singular. So my subject is doing it. Well, I know my direct object ends in an M or an S. So I know that the girl is being loved, and I know, therefore, that Marcus is doing the loving. So Marcus loves a girl. Okay? Now, word order doesn't matter specifically because the endings of words is what kind of tells us their function in the sentence. So here's the next one. Davum pueri vexant. Find your verb first. Okay? And you'll see that the verb is vexant. Now, can you bother a nun or a puppy? Exactly. Yes, you can. So it is a transitive verb. So now I need to look for two things. I need to look for a direct object, and I need to look for a subject. Now, I know that my subject is plural. So I'm going to look around for plural endings, and I see pueri. So there's my subject. And I also know I need a direct object, so I'm going to look for something that ends in an M or an S. And I see davum, and now I know. So the boys bother Daus, not the other way around. It's not Daus bothers the boys, because the verb is plural, and Daus is singular. Now the last example. Audit vocem Cornelia. Okay? Now again, I look for my verb first. Audit. And that's singular. So now I know my subject is singular. So I look for somebody who is doing the verb. I also know that you can listen to a nun or a puppy, so it must be transitive. So I look for something that ends in an M. So I know that vocem is a direct object, and I know that Cornelia is my subject. So Cornelia hears a voice. That's how it works, okay? So that's how you can tell if a verb is transitive. You have to ask yourself, is there a nun or a puppy that I could do this to? If there is, then it's transitive. If not, then that's what the next video is for. All right? Okay, I'm going to hit the button.